What's the opposite of loud? I'm a senior in high school. I don't know what the opposite of loud is. Quiet. There we go. Opposite of loud is quiet. Okay, let's redo that. First movie review. Yeah. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace movie review. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace was the first movie of the prequel trilogy released in 1999 and directed by George Lucas. Stars Liam Neeson, Ewan McGregor, Samuel Jackson, Natalie Portman, a lot of famous actors and actresses. However, this movie is not a fan favorite. The Phantom Menace was actually the first Star Wars movie I ever saw, and I saw this as a little kid growing up. And the first time I saw this, I loved the movie. And I think this is because it has a lot of comedy for kids. And rewatching it now, it's not a Star Wars movie. It's a kid's movie, and that's one of the things I hate most about The Phantom Menace, that it's mostly a kid's movie and not a Star Wars movie. So if we go back to the original trilogy, this one right here, those are Star Wars movies, and those would probably be one of the 3 best movies of all time, or probably the best trilogy of all time. Then we go to the prequel trilogy, Episode 1, 25 years later, after A New Hope came out, they do a prequel trilogy and they call it Episode 1. And it's basically where we meet Anakin. We meet Qui-Gon Jinn. We first meet Obi-Wan Kenobi. George, have you ever thought of an age gap? Because I feel like Anakin in the movie is probably like 10, 11, 12 years old, and Queen Amidala is probably older than that, extremely older than that. So, and then once you get into Episode 2, it gets a little bit weird, because if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. Let's talk about the goods of the movie, because there is a lot of good stuff about The Phantom Menace. First, we have the pod race, which I absolutely love, and a lot of people hate it, but I love it. And second, probably the lightsaber battle at the end of the movie between Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Darth Maul, which is Duel of the Fates, which was amazing. And the third thing that is really good about this movie is the music, the score by John Williams himself. What an amazing score. And I feel like all his scores in all the Star Wars films is absolutely amazing. Now let's talk about the negatives. I think probably the biggest negative is CGI. There's too much CGI, and you can tell that it's CGI for most of the film. Second, a bad thing I did not like is Jar Jar Binks. And I feel like a lot of people are going to agree with me here, because Jar Jar Binks is basically a character to laugh at, to make jokes and laugh at. And watching it back now at my age, you don't find the comedy hilarious. Like, probably if you're younger, 13 or less, you probably find the comedy hilarious. But then once you start getting into your older days, the comedy just isn't that great, and I feel like you just didn't need Jar Jar Binks in the movie, and then probably the whole trilogy. Another negative thing is the pacing issue in this film. Like, the film starts off extremely fast-paced on Naboo, and then they take the starship to Tatooine, they have the pod race, and then they fly to Coruscant. And that's when the movie becomes a politics movie. And that, you just don't want to see a politics movie and a Star Wars movie. And that probably drags the movie along another 20 minutes, and extremely boring and extremely tiring to watch. And then after that, we get back to the fast pace of the movie, back on Naboo, the lightsaber battle. Another positive thing that fans probably didn't like is the death of Qui-Gon Jinn. You might be saying, why would the death of Qui-Gon Jinn be good? And I'm saying this because a lot of fans saw the original trilogy before seeing this film, and we know the relationship between Obi-Wan and Anakin, and we don't really see a relationship between them in this film, and I think that's something that the film's lacking. And we see Qui-Gon Jinn, who's a replacement father type figure for Anakin, because Anakin does not have a father in this film, and they build a strong relationship. And we also see the relationship between Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan throughout the film. And in the final battle with Darth Maul, Obi-Wan has to watch his master get killed, and he can't do anything. So then, and I think this is very important because he gets to have his revenge, but not really revenge, because there's no revenge for the Jedi. So he vengeance Qui-Gon Jinn's death, but then also it's an opportunity to build a relationship between Obi-Wan and Anakin, because then Obi-Wan can now be the master of Anakin and teach him the ways of the Force. And I feel like that's extremely important to this film. Qui-Gon Jinn, who's basically the main character of this film, and probably a fan favorite because he's just a great actor, and I think fans probably love for him to be in more films. And he did an amazing job in this film, but I feel like having this death is going to help the whole trilogy in a whole be more successful. And I feel like we see that in the other two films, how the relationship between Obi-Wan and Anakin has grown because of the whole master and apprentice. So that's my review. If I would have to give this a rating, I would give Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, a C. I give it a C because there's a lot of room for improvement. Like, this is a good film, but it can be a great film with massive improvements. It's not one of my favorite films in the whole Skywalker saga, but it's one that I will always enjoy because of iconic moments like the pod race and the Duel of the Fates. This was my first ever review. Make sure to leave your comments in the comment section. Make sure to leave a like if you liked the video. And make sure to subscribe for more movie reviews. I'll see you next time. Peace!